Thanks for coming back to Is It Impossible? Greatly appreciate your patronage. We appreciate your sharing the word and spreading the videos around. We can't survive without folks like you watching this channel. Basically, this channel is for content that you want to see. So if you have anything that you want to see, please feel free to drop that in below so that we know what to try to concentrate some of our research on. Can't promise everything. We do a lot of different things videos wise that in the realm of the world of Is It Impossible. So anyways, thank you for chiming in today. We appreciate that. And let's get on with today's story. Today's story is Trading Spaces, also known as Rogue Officer. So let's go ahead and have a look at Trading Spaces. According to a Sergeant Henry who was working on a police department in the year 2017 thereabouts, it was springtime and it was towards the end of his career. He was working an accident reconstruction where two cars collided and there were 2 deaths involved and a couple of injuries. He and his partner, Officer Jones, were working the accident scene and Officer Jones had his car blocking traffic. They had cones up blocking off that section of road, and they had the mobile command unit parked in a parking lot close by, right beside the edge of the street, so that they could get in and out of the inclement weather. It had been raining for the last 3 days, and Sergeant Henry was just putting up. He had just walked back to the mobile command unit. He had taken one of the laser systems back into the mobile command unit because it had been pouring down rain so much and was pretty dark. It wasn't working very effectively, and he wanted to get it out of the rain. And they had just finished up doing measurements with large reel tapes and triangulation. And Officer Henry, Sergeant Henry, stated that he had just put the laser system, dried it off, put it back into the box, and was still in the mobile command unit when a loud, thunderous bang hit and a bright flash of light. He said it happened so fast, the flash of light and bang, and it was so loud he thought something had exploded outside of the mobile command unit, and the bang literally dropped him to his knees. He got up. His first thing he was thinking was, oh my God, what the heck was that? And his second thing he was thinking is, oh my gosh, my partner's still outside in the rain. So he runs outside, back into the rain, and he said the light apparently was so bright that it had turned off the street lights. And the street lights were just starting to flicker back on. And he looked back into the accident scene zone and into the rain and dark night, and he saw a strange officer standing in the middle of his crime scene. And he yelled out to him, "What are you doing here?" And he runs out there to check to see if he's okay. And he's taken aback. The rogue officer standing in his crime scene, strangely dressed in a uniform that he's not familiar with, looked very familiar compared to his partner, Officer Jones. But he states it definitely was not Officer Jones. He had a different skin color. He asked him again, "What are you doing here?" And the man, dazed and confused, looking around, just shook his head and shrugged his shoulders. No. So he ushers him into the mobile command unit and offers him a towel to dry off, and he asks him if he would like some coffee. And the rogue officer's looking around strangely, not knowing still what's going on, and starts talking in a language that Officer or Sergeant Henry's unfamiliar with. Now, in Midwest areas, typically a foreign language would be Spanish. And although Sergeant Henry stated this gentleman looked like he could have been Hispanic, he was definitely not speaking Spanish. In fact, he was not speaking in any other familiar language that he'd ever heard of. And he didn't look European for that matter. He hands him some coffee, tells him to sit down. He runs back outside to look for his partner, Officer Jones. But Officer Jones isn't anywhere to be found. Officer Jones's police car is still there with the lights blocking traffic. looks in the car. He's not in the car. He's looking around. He's not anywhere to be seen. So he gets on the radio and he calls the uniformed supervisor to come on scene to ask, hey, I'm missing Officer Jones. I don't know where he's at, and this dude was in my crime scene. Although he stated he wasn't going to press any charges against the guy. He's an officer from someplace. He has no idea where, but he can't communicate with him. And according to Sergeant Henry, the afternoon shift supervisor really didn't care about this rogue officer. As long as he was okay, cut him loose, let him go, do whatever. That's not my problem. He goes, my problem is, where's Officer Jones? So they do a police bulletin. They put the police bulletin out to be on the lookout for him because they can't find him anywhere. The supervisor calls for another officer to come up and remove Officer Jones's vehicle from the scene so it can be taken back and no longer, because they were done with the accident investigation. So Sergeant Henry states he takes this guy into the mobile command unit and he drives him back to the police station to park the mobile command unit and to put up some paperwork, and he offers him to come inside, see if he could let him use the phone, see if he can call somebody, because he handed him the cell phone. The guy just looks at it and didn't know what to do with it. So he takes him inside to the police station and goes into the investigations office, where he sees one of his partners, another investigator, sitting there who had been working on a bank robbery case with the FBI. The FBI comes walking in as Sergeant Henry's talking to the other investigator, saying, man, I don't know what to do with this guy. What am I supposed to do with him? I don't want to just cut him loose. He's not from around here, apparently. Doesn't know what's going on. So as Sergeant Henry's talking to his partner, the FBI agent walks up to the gentleman and starts having a conversation with him. Both the Sergeant Henry and his partner look at the FBI agent kind of confused, and Sergeant Henry asks the FBI agent, he's like, what language is this guy speaking? And the FBI agent turns around and just looks at him. He's like, he's not from around here, is he? And the two police officers look at each other, shake their heads, but whatever, they aren't going to. And the FBI agent says, I'll take this guy off your hands. I'll make arrangements to make sure that he's taken care of and make sure that he gets back home. Okay? And Sergeant Henry's fine with that. He's got other problems on his hands. Okay? So he doesn't ask any other questions. Get him off his hands is no longer his problem, but they're still looking for Officer Jones. 2 weeks go by. 2 weeks go by without any word from Officer Jones anywhere. And the FBI agent comes back up to the office with Officer Jones. Officer Jones looks fine. He sits down, and they're like, where you been for the last 2 weeks? And Officer Jones has no idea where he's been, what's going on. He has no recollection of anything. In fact, according to Officer Jones, the only thing he remembers leading up to that day was arriving at work on that rainy afternoon and basically just sitting down when the FBI agent said, have a seat. He goes, that's the only thing he remembers. He doesn't remember anything else. So the FBI agent says, hey, you need to take this guy to the hospital, have him checked out, which they do. But to this day, Officer Jones has no recollection of where he'd been for 2 weeks, and the FBI gives no offer of explanation where they took the rogue officer. So what do you think? Is it impossible? Fact or fiction? Appreciate it if you like, subscribe, and share this video with others so they can also get the word out. We'd like to really grow this channel, and we'd like to provide content that you want to see. So again, be sure to put notifications down there and put your comments. What do you think this story is? Fact or fiction? And one thing I find interesting is that it didn't take place all that long ago, but so far I've been able to not find any other information about it. So thanks for tuning in, and you have a great day.